How long you think it was gonna take before we got here? Now you gotta prove yourself all over again. Come on.
Ain't nobody coming, I've been gunning from 100 yards, trying to hit my mark, missing every time. This will be the start of the picture perfect. Watch you.
Good morning, Mr. Terry. How are you on this terrific Terry Tuesday as we count down to Derby weekend?
Well, I don't feel that terrific, but I'm okay.
Well, you sound better. You look good. That's what matters.
Yeah.
You're still, what are you? You're 6 feet over instead of 6 feet under, my man. So
That's
as long as we're here, we have
That's
another
it.
chance, right?
Yep. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for after yesterday. I mean, you were all over the horses. Just neither one of us could craft a winning ticket. It was just I guess for me, I mean, I'm not going to make any excuses. Some days you have bad days, but when you handicap for speed and you get a bunch of closers, you're going to have a long day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think there's only 2 races I saw that the speed held up. The rest of the time they got caught.
And I think I got those 2 right, but the other ones, today the track is fast, so I'm sure they did some maintenance to the track overnight. And when they do maintenance at Parx, it does tend to favor speed. So I don't know if I'm going to make the same mistake 2 days in a row, Terry, but we'll find out. You see the weather right now, 54 degrees, overcast, 15% chance of rain. I suppose if you're in New Jersey, you're screwed because there's a flash flood warning in effect, but thankfully they race in Bensalem, Pennsylvania.
All right.
That's a big plus. Big plus last night. I don't know if you had a chance to watch Sean and Julie. They got together yesterday with Jacqueline Davis.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, sister of I got the wrong thing up in here. Sister of Katie Davis, and sister-in-law of I don't know why it's not going to my channel. Sister-in-law of Trevor McCarthy. That was a good show last night, Terry. She's a wonderful person. I remember when we were at Saratoga, she had gotten her, I think it was her first Saratoga win, right?
Yeah, I think so. And was it not for her dad, I think she said, or something like that?
So here you go. Scary. Yeah, I know yesterday was one of those days. Only I won one money on. It was the 2-year-old race that Justify Colt Living Magic or something like that. Yeah, it was, again, I know I handicapped for speed, got closers, and it just continued all day. But anyway, Jacqueline, if you haven't seen that interview, fun interview, check it out on Horse Racing Radar TV. And tonight, just announced that we have a guest that's going to have a popular horse running in the Kentucky Derby on Saturday. A lot of people's kind of upset pick. Larry Ravelli and the trainer of Two Phils will be on tonight. So if you have any questions for Larry about Two Phils, about his prep work, about the Kentucky Derby, about the excitement of it all, you know where this comes from, Terry, too, right?
No, I don't.
Well, when we were at Hawthorne a little more than a week ago, remember the nice waitress Lisa said that she and Larry are good friends.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember.
He gave us his phone number, and then indeed Sean reached out to him. He's been really hospitable. You know, if I got a text from a complete stranger saying, "Yo, dude, you want to come on a YouTube show?" I'd be like, "What the hell are you? Who are you?"
Yeah, I would too, especially if I didn't know what that was about. So,
and especially when you have one of the hot horses, so to speak, at the upcoming. I'm sure it's a crazy week for him, so we really appreciate him coming on. Again, that'll be at 8 p.m. tonight. If you have any questions for Larry Ravelli, what it's like to get prepped for the Kentucky Derby, to be behind the scenes, I tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. The best way to make sure you don't miss that is to subscribe right here on YouTube. Follow us on our social sites. Sean will update you. Make sure you get the links and you get notified by hitting that subscription. How did I do yesterday, Christopher D'Souza? I want to remind us. I know we're all saying we had a tough day. Scary Creations is having a tough card today too, he says. So I don't know. We'll see what today holds. Terry, you ready to start with race 1 at Parx?
Yeah, let's go.
Since we've run through all of the other stuff. Race 1, 6 furlongs. There's a lot of 6 furlong races today, so keep an eye on the first race. If speed doesn't hold and closers come back, then indeed you might have a continued closer bias off of yesterday. Claiming 5,000, non-winners are 2 in a year. The purse is 18,000. 6 furlong races at Parx tend to favor, tactical speed types pretty close to the front. If you do get to the front, 36% chance to go wire to wire. Post positions are fair. except the slight discount for posts 2 and 3. Terry, early speed wise, it looks like ET's Candyman and Caden's Courage, according to our 1,000 simulations, should be in some order of 1-2 at the quarter-mile marker.
Yeah, and it looks like ET's Candyman's got a little bit more speed. If he can get out of the gate, or it's he. If he can get out of the gate and have no problem, he should beat the 5-2, the quarter pole, but we'll have to wait and see. And then as far as overlays go, the one has a nice overlay. It's supposed to be 5-2, listed at 6-1 on the morning line. And the 3 is a really nice overlay. It's supposed to be just over even money. It's listed at 6-1 on the morning line. And then as far as the C-zones, most of them have fairly decent C-zones numbers except for the 6. So 4 and 5 have the best looking ones.
Yeah, it looks like the 4, the 5, and the 1, that trio should get trips that they're extremely comfortable with. So we'll see if indeed that's how it plays out. As far as our pace sheet is concerned, the 1, the 5, and the 6, they run their best races. They've won when they're on the lead. So let's see if any of those actually will be on the lead according to our recency bias. Does look like the 5 and the 1 are going to be your contenders, although according to the most recent numbers, this Caden's Courage has a 9-point advantage over the rest of the field. Very likely that you'll see that one be up on the front. On the late pace numbers, Terry, it looks like the 1 horse in there, along with the 3, have some of the best late pace numbers. So that 1 horse, ET's Candy, could sit right behind Caden's Courage and then use those late legs to maybe close the show, which gets at the top early pace, late pace combination in the field, Terry. Who do you think is going to win in this race?
I'll tell you what. First of all, Smooth Will, it's going to be about 9 minutes for post time.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the 4 Rockin' Cowboy. I like PC horses, and he has won 2 out of the last 3 races, including the last one at Parx Racing. His best start speed is fastest among today's starters, and he has the highest speed figure at today's distance. Then that speed burner, number 5, Caden's Courage, he is having a good year, finishing in the money in 60% of his starts, and he won 20% of those races. He shares the best start speed among today's starters with Rockin' Cowboy. And then number 7, San Antonio's my 3rd pick, drops in class today, has a high percentage winning trainer. I like the 6 as my long shot, Stay Hydrated. He drops in class today to a level of his last win. And I'm going to play a dollar double. I'm going to use the 4, 5, 6, 7 with the 2, 8.
So looking at good morning, Barry. Good to see you again. Can't wait to see who our top picks in the 6th and 7th of the race are. I can't wait to see who mine are too. As far as Smooth Will, good to see you. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us today. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button and the like button. If you're new here, simulation odds, 1,000 simulations using speed figures. And then from there, based upon how many times that horse gets the max score, so if a horse had the max score 50% of the time, it would be a 1-to-1 in terms of its fair odds. That's relative to the morning line odds. 1,000 simulations using early pace numbers to see who will be where at the quarter-mile marker. And then C-zone score. Based upon the early pace, will the horse be in a situation where it is going to be close enough to the pace where it's run its best races? That's why it's called comfort zone. I like race number 1, the 5 horse Caden's Courage. Did show better early pace in its last race, along with better late pace. So I focused a little more on late pace today, just in case that track does stay in favor of closers. And it ran similar fractions at 6 furlongs as it did at 5.5 furlongs in that previous start. Rockin' Cowboy won 2 of his last 3, Terry. Stepping up in class, though, is the concern for me here today. Does have a really strong C-zone score, though. ET's Candyman. Here you have that combination. I've seen it way too many times already, Terry, with the strong C-zone, strong chance to be on the lead, and an overlay. You can no longer overlook that combination, and I won't here today. And then finally, number 3, indirectly. If closers are the way again today, this one will be coming fastest of them all. So I had to make sure I threw that one in there. And then for me, 50-cent trifecta, 1, 4, 5 with the 4, 5 with the 1, 3, 4, 5, and 8. And that's how I like race number 1. In the second race, Terry, they are going to run 6 furlongs again. As we mentioned, tactical speed is probably the best way to go. There is not a post position advantage, although 2 and 3 do have a little bit of a discount. And then there is a little bit of probably about 35% go wire to wire, Terry. So in race number 2, take us through what you see in terms of the simulations and early speed.
All right. Well, I see that the 4 has all the speed in this race, it appears. The 8 and the 1 may give it a little bit of problem getting to that quarter pole. And then as far as the overlays, the 3 has a pretty nice overlay. It's supposed to be 6-1 in simulated odds. It's listed at 15-1. The 4 has a small overlay, just over 3-1, listed at 4-1 on the morning line. And then the 8, it's about double what it's listed. It's just under even money, and it's got 2-1 on the morning line. As far as the C zones, well, you see there the 1, the 4, the 6, and the 7 all have really nice C zone numbers.
Indeed. As far as the pace setup for race number 2 looks like, let's see how horses want to win. Terry, how far out are we out to race number 1 actually running?
It says 5 minutes.
Okay, good. So Christopher in that first race, he likes the 1 with the 3. He likes the 3 horse, that closer there. So yeah, if closers continue to do well, that could be the 1. In race number 2, you see a lot of horses, 4 of the 8, so half the field want to be up on the front. So those that don't get the lead could be a little bit discouraged. Looks like the 1, the 4, and the 8. The 8 horse, which is typically a closer, does have some of the best early speed. That's what I call a left arrow horse. So it's early pace, even though he's a closer, should put him closer to the front with this group. And as you see right here, it is indeed the top closer in this race. So if the 8 horse is sitting third, maybe behind the 1, the 4, the 5, something in that combination, should be able to close the show, especially with the best combination of early speed and late speed. And if you look at that, the 4 and the 8 have an advantage over the rest of the field. Terry, would not be shocked at all to see one of those 2 as your winner. What do you say?
All right. Well, I like in this race the number 2, Big Ambition. She finished in the money in 4 out of the 4 starts this year. And she won the last one, has a high percentage winning trainer. Then the number 8 is my second choice, finished third versus Tupper in her last race at the Fairgrounds. She drops in class today and switches to a jockey who in the last 7 days has finished in the money 9 out of 14 races and won 5 of those. Number 4, Be Water, is my third pick. She ran second versus Tupper in her last race. She drops in class also and switches to high percentage winning jockey. All That Magic is my long shot to 7. She has a high percentage winning trainer. The shorter distance could be a plus, and she has a good workout on April 22nd. I'm going to play an exact trifecta, 50 cent. I'm going to use the 6-8 with the 2-4-8 with the 1, 2, 4, 7, and 8.
Scary Creation says race 2 box, the 4 and the 8. I agree with you. I see that's where I'm at right now. Those are my 2 favorite. Race 2, number 1, win 9 and 4 on the EP. Number 1, 94 on the EP. Yes, on the early pace. He does have a lot of early speed as well, that 1 horse. So let's take a look at my picks, Terry. Let's see what I'm thinking in here. I like that 8 horse in here, Carnelian. This one is a track dropper. It's also a class dropper and also has the top last race speed figure. I really like that combination. Horses that come in from NYRA or higher rated tracks, then drop in class off the top last race speed figure. They tend to do well. Number 4, Be Water. I wanted to rank this one a little bit higher, but it's been off for more than a year. Prior to that, it was facing a lot tougher horses before apparently getting injured and going to the bench. Steady works with a 3 furlong bullet, which I like to see, telling me that they are prepping that horse to get out of the gates in a hurry. And also a 6 furlong work in there. So they want to make sure the horse has fitness. So they're definitely coming to win this race. Big Ambition was better across the board in its last race with improved early pace, mid pace, and late pace numbers. But that was the maiden win in the 6th try, although at Parx hit the board in 3 out of 3, catching a weight break today. And finally, All That Magic, Terry, what we're looking for today. It's a tough call for me over the 1, but I think it's going to improve a little bit more in the second off the layoff, according to its resume. Pick 4 for me, 4-8, 4-5-7, 2-3-4-8 with the 2, 5, and 6. In race 1, Terry's just about get ready to start it. So let's go ahead and put our picks back up and see how this plays out.
All right. Yeah, they said about 1 minute, I guess, right?
Well, I think they're all but 3 horses look loaded on my TV screen, Terry.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, mine's a little behind, I think.
So I can hear Jessica Paquette. I'm getting ready. I'm getting prepped for when I'm on like a network doing one of these things where I have somebody talking in my ear and able to keep my concentration about what we're talking about at the same time. It's an interesting task if you haven't done it.
All right.
Yeah, when I get my network debut. Yeah, right. All right. I have a funny story about that. I'll tell you one day.
Okay.
We'll see. All right. So race number 1 is off, and the 8 horse in here, 1 slick start, trying to get off to a 1 slick start. Although the 6 horse stay hydrated, making its name known. It looks like that 5 horse, Cadence Courage, got off to a slow start. Terry did not find its way to the front. Although now the jockey is pushing that horse forward. The 1 horse on the rail, E.T.'s Candyman, is now taking control of the race in front with the 6 horse. Stay hydrated, running in between horses. Second, 5 horse has moved down to the rail, Cadence Courage. You got a whole host of horses on the outside. The 7 horse is now trying to get involved, but it looks like the jockey's asking a little bit from him. The 4 horse, Rockin' Cowboys jockey, that gray, being very patient, just wiped away his glasses. Opening quarter in 23. On the outside, the 8 horse, 1 slick start. He tried to get off to a slick start. Looks like this one is going to take over the race here. Terry, again, moving from the back to the front. Oh, not good. The 5 horse just went down.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, they had a terrible one yesterday, too, apparently at
Thistledowns.
At Thistledowns, yes. I hope the young man is all right. I know that we had some initial reports that it looks like your 6, Terry, is going to be it's going to go 8, 6, 4, and 7. 8, 6, 4, and 7. And the 8 horse had a little bit of a decent, but not really. I mean, I think that's a little bit of an upset in here, Terry.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Mm-hmm. Just one of those races where the horses beat you, right?
Yeah.
I'm on the 4 in race number 1. Jimmy V was pretty close. Your horse is coming in there. And then TH, race number 7. And we'll be moving on to race number 7 in a minute. So now we're on to race number 3, Mr. Terry. I hope it looked like to me the jockey got up right away. I don't know if you saw that too.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's just like a natural reflex, because honestly, I've never been on a horse and got knocked down in the middle of a race.
Yeah.
Or I rode a horse once, man. I'm never going to do that again. The horse didn't like me.
No.
All right. So let's try race 3 now, Terry. Hopefully we can hopefully the rest of the day goes a little better. The last couple of days been a little bit of a fight for us at Parx.
It has been, yeah. When you have a problem like that, so it really kind of upsets the finish of the race, I think.
Let's see. He's not sure what the jockey was doing on that 5. Almost looked like he kept pushing that horse head to the side. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him on the rail and then just go down, right? That was that.
I don't know if he clipped another horse's heels or what. So.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Christian. How are you today from Panama? Buenos Diaz as well, all the way from Chicago to Panama. He looked like he had Horace, just didn't let him go. Yeah, I agree for you. Race number 1, the 8 horse one, followed by, was it 8-4, Terry? No, it was 8-6-4. 8-6-4.
Yeah.
And then Scary, you didn't like the 3 horse cartwheel. All right. So anyway, let's move on to race number 3 now. 6.5 furlongs. It's another one we'll see a couple of times today. Profile of a 6.5 furlong winner, has early speed. 37% of the time they go wire to wire. Very strong inside 3 and 8 and out bias. A little bit of a ding if you wear a 4 through 7. And then our early pace simulation. Well, a couple scratches in here. The 3 horse and the 6 horse, Terry. Neither looking like they're going to impact the early going of the race. And minus the 2, everybody's got a chance to be up front.
Yeah, that's right. The one, though, has a little bit of an advantage as she's got the rail. And she gets out of there with cleanly. She should maybe get there first. And then I see that the overlays, the 2 is a little over, 1.5 to 1. And it's on the morning line is 9 to 2. And then the 4 horse is, almost double. It's say 5 to 2 versus 5 to 1 on the morning line. As far as the C zones, you can see there that the 2 has the best C zone, and then comes the 1 and the 5. So that's about it.
And you have the 2 in there as your top pick with that top C zone.
Yeah,
Our pace, and I don't have him in there, so I'm probably going to feel stupid after that race. Our pace setup Yeah, well, in the 8 horse, do you think that's what knocked him over? Inquiring on that 8 horse would make the 6 the winner and put Terry's double back in play. With the scratches, you see that everybody in here pretty much wants to be forwardly placed. The 2 horse probably has the most versatility as far as the early speed is concerned, minus the 2 horse. Everybody's pretty competitive in here, so I'd expect to see a pretty good pace. Maybe they'll go 4 wide like they did yesterday in a similar race. Late pace does belong to that 2 horse, although the 4 horse will have a little bit of say in that. And the early pace, late pace combination shows that it's a competitive race. Maybe the 7 horse and the 1 might be a little bit out of their league in here, but we'll see how that plays out. All right, Terry, how do you think it'll play out?
Well, I like the 2 Boscara. She finished in the money 71% of her races at Parx Racing, and she's won 29% of those races. So she really likes this track, and she's done well at today's distance. She's won in the money 66% of the time and won 33% of those. Has a high percentage winning trainer. The 7 is my second choice. She ran second versus similar on turf in her last race. She has a high percentage winning trainer, and she can improve while returning to dirt. And then the 5 is my third pick. She won her last race at Parx Racing, has the highest last speed rating, and her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. She has a high percentage winning jockey. Number 4 is my long shot. She won her last race at Parx Racing and has the highest last speed rating. And I'm going to bet $6 to win on the 2 horse.
I don't have that too. Christopher likes that too. Hey, Blair, how are you this morning? Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. I like the 5 horse, Terry. Vidiami, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it is today. Won her last with ease, and that was with a peak speed number, at least in its most recent cycle. What I looked back and found is the last time she ran a peak, she followed it up with an even better number. So I'm hoping to see that pattern repeat today. Pontiffany ran the top last race speed figure, stepping up in class. Another one that showed peak performance last time out. But the prior 2 times they put together a peak number did regress a little bit. Not deal killers, but certainly something to be concerned with. The 7 horse, Epicurian, consistent performer who's raced competitively at this level, while most of the others in here are actually stepping up in class. Finally, Take Charge, Erica, the 1 horse. Tough call over the 2, but it looks like to me that the 1 horse, Take Charge, Erica, is actually improving, while the 2 horse is tiring. That was my reason for not putting the 2 in there. 4-5 over to 4-5-7 over to 1-2-4-5-7 for my 50-cent trifecta out of my $100 budget. And race 4, Mr. Terry, is where we're headed to now. Again, back to 6 furlongs, as we've mentioned before. 6 furlongs does favor tactical speed. It is one where the post positions really don't make much of a difference. About 35% of the time, the horses go wire to wire. So speed can be important. Today, it looked like the speed really didn't hold up too badly. Yeah, it's pretty tough to call on that first race with the 5 falling down and the race going a little bit out of order compared to what we expected. But what do we expect in terms of early speed here, Terry?
Well, you can see there that 2 already shows a little bit of speed in this race. So it's really anybody's guess who's going to get that quarter pole first. Mm-hmm. The 7 has a really nice overlay. It's supposed to be simulated odds 2-1. It's listed at 5-1. And the 8 also is supposed to be 7-2. It's listed at 6-1. So that's pretty good. As far as the C zones go, hey, look up and down there. They all got pretty good C zone numbers except for the 1.
And the 3.
And the 3. Yeah.
Polar wind is a little bit cold C zone wise. Let's see if it's cold in its pace scenario for this race as well. Interesting setup in here. You got the 6 as a lone E. And anytime you get one of these lone E's, they can be really dangerous if they get up out onto the lead. Looking at the early speed figures in here, it does look like it is the one that's going to get to the front, Terry, with an 8-point advantage over everybody else. So should get the lead pretty comfortably. A lot of the other horses in here are mid-pack and back. So with that in mind, the closers look like the 2, the 3, and the 4, maybe a little bit of company from the 7 and the 8. And the early pace, late pace combination belongs to the 2 horse. Dixie's 2 cents, a few points better than everybody else. But minus the 1, 3, and 5, it looks like it's a pretty competitive field from that perspective. Terry, from your perspective, who's your winner?
Number 2, Dixie's 2 cents. He's finished in the money in 5 out of the last 6 races this year. and winning 2, and has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer. Midlander, number 4, is my second choice. Ran second in his last race. Has the highest last speed rating. Has a trainer jockey combination who in the last 14 days have been in the money 3 out of 5 starts, winning 2 of those starts. And then number 6, my last mission, is my third choice. Comes in from Aqueduct to try Parx Racing. Has a trainer who wins 34% of the races when bringing a horse back who's been off 90 plus days, and has a high speed figure at today's distance. Iconic Legacy. The 7 is my long shot. He finished in the money in 5 of his last 5 races, winning 2 of those. Has the best start speed among today's starters. I'm going to play a 50-cent pick 4. I'm going to use the 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 with the 1, 2, 5, 9 with the 1, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to single the 7 in the 7th.
Yeah, it was a tough one for me with Jeremy Rose too. That was my 5th pick in here. Was battling it between 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and maybe even as high as 2nd. I feel like this was a competitive race in here too. Barry, as far as Tom is concerned, I know that he usually puts his stuff over on his Twitter. I don't remember the handle off the top of my head. I'll ask Sean real quickly during the course of the show. He knows it, and then I'll post it in a little bit as soon as Sean gets back to me. In race number 4, I like and if Sean, if you're listening, if you could put that in the comment section, that'd be great too. In race number 4, I'm going to start off with the 2 horse Dixie's 2 cents Stents as well. It's been off since July, but the horse came in from Keeneland and then Southern California, Santa Anita Del Mar, so it's clearly facing better horses there. If the horse is ready, the class is there. The works are just okay. Number 8, Honorary Degree, came off the bench with better across-the-board race internals last time. And I think you're going to see some continued improvement in the second start after a layoff. Midlander, the 4, ran the top last race speed figure at this level. And just looking at its body of work, it is the most consistent horse in this field. And then finally, between the Jeremy Rose horse and Polar Wind, I went with Polar Wind because it's coming in from Turfway Park. And those Turfway Park horses they're really traveling well this year. And it's the first off the claim for trainer Lee Halem, who wins 32% of the time. And since it moved into Lee's barn, the horse has a nice workout. Little inexpensive pick 4 for me. 2, 3, 4, 8 with the 2, 5, 6 with the 3, and then the 2, 7. Unfortunately, it's Mr. Terry, you're echoing a little bit again. I don't know why it comes and goes. I wish we could figure that out once and for all and slay that dragon. Back to 6 furlongs for race number 5 and 6 furlong. Well, again, we talked about a tactical speed, some 30% chance wire to wire, really no big advantage to any particular post position. Terry, in the 5th race, couple of scratches, Amigos Guitar in large. Amigos Guitar looked like it was going to be a big part of the early race. Today it's on the sidelines, and that opens it up to the door for a whole lot of folks to be up front.
That's right. If you can see there, the ones that have the most speed is the 5 and the 9, but they all show a little bit of speed. So we just don't know who gets there first. It could be either the 5 or the 9. As far as the overlay goes, if you look here, the 5 has a overlay. It's about double. It's supposed to be like 5 to 2 on the morning line. Simulated odds, and it's 5 to 1 listed on the morning line. And then the 7 has the 9 has a really large overweight. Like it's supposed to be 2 to 1 on the morning line, and it's listed simulated odds listed at 10 to 1. And most of these have pretty good C-zone numbers. If you look here, they're not great, but the 8 has the best one.
Dagnabbit. Yeah, interesting about chain reaction too, with the 3 horse scratching it in the 5, Hope for Gold. Those 2 probably are your primary beneficiaries of the 3 moving to the sidelines today. Let's see if that indeed plays out in the race pace setup. The 7 and the 9 and the 1, they can all be pilots. The 6 and the 8 want to be co-pilots. They're not interested in having the lead necessarily. Looking at the early speed figures, Hope for Gold, that 5 horse, which is a pressure closer type. They're very versatile. They can be anywhere on the track, in the front, the middle, the back. They're really kind of horses that you want to bet on because they're not pace dependent in a lot of cases. So I think the 5 will probably lay patient, let some of the other horses take control, try to run its trip. The 8 horse, the 2 horse does have the best late speed, But the 5, again, Hope for Gold, showing up in that respect. So should be close to the front, has some good late legs, could be joined by Dag Nabbit as the race comes to a close. But overall, it looks like the 5 and the 2 with the 9, but a pretty competitive race from top to bottom, minus the 7, Fire Sale, as far as the early pace, late pace connection is concerned. Terry, how do you see the race playing out when they do hit the wire?
All right. Well, I like that 2-horse Murray. He has been off for 8 months, but has steadily been working out towards his return to the track, drops in class, has the best dirt speed among today's starters, has a trainer win 75% of the races when he puts blinkers back on a horse. Number 5 is my second choice, Hope for Gold. He ran second versus similar in his last race, has a high percentage winning trainer, and has a jockey who in the last 7 days has won 3 out of 10 starts with a second and a third. And then I like number 1 is my third pick. He can improve at the shorter distance, has a high percentage winning jockey. The 9, Chain Reaction, is my long shot. He finished third versus similar in his last race, switches a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. And I'm going to play a $1 double. I'm going to use the 1, 2, 5, 9 with the 1, 3.
I'm going to start off in the 5th race with the 5-horse. 5's alive, Mr. Terry. Looking at Hope for Gold, looking for the horse to find the gold today. There's a little bit of an overlay. 5-1 morning line looks like 5-2 should be the right number. Did improve through the first half mile last time out, and that was with faster fractions. So confirmation that the horse actually did run better. Been okay at the distance, 6 times out with a win, a couple of seconds, and a third. Taco Bean, that 6-horse, gets the second spot for me. It's won 2 out of its 3 races at Parx since coming in from the Naira circuit. And trainer Elliot Soto Martinez, when he wins a race, he goes back-to-back 5 out of 12 times so far this year. Number 2, Maru, comes in from Laurel Mama circuit after facing tougher. The works are okay in here. And then I don't know if you talked about this, Terry, or not, but the trainer Jorge Duarte Jr., when he puts blinkers back on a horse, won 3 out of 4 and in the money 4 out of 4. Not a big data sample, but a lot of success in the limited number of efforts with that angle. Chain Reaction, that 9-horse, finally carried his speed longer in that last race, cutting back in the distance. I think should help his fitness in here today. Trifecta 2, 5, 6 with the 5, 6 with the 2, 5, 6, 7, and number 9. Off to the next race we go, Terry, and that one's going to be race number 6. This one, they're going to run 6 furlongs yet again, which seems like a pretty common distance today, as we mentioned. So keep an eye on that first race. Well, some indication that mid-pack and forward might be okay. Let's see what's going on here. Race 5 is tough. Yeah, I agree with that one. 1 and 2 are major droppers. If they can still run, they should be tough for these. With that said, you have others better in form. Yeah, I do agree with you. Copy strike. What's that? YouTube jail. Copy strikeout. You're in YouTube jail, Charles? What did you do? Did you say something
about grandma?
Oh, grandma's in YouTube jail? Oh, all right. What did grandma do? Grandma seems such a nice person. How does grandma get in YouTube jail? Did they make some political comments or something? Say that the jabs for the horses don't work or something along those lines? Kind of curious. I mean, the interesting story, I'm sure. All right. So race number 6, Terry, as far as that 6 furlongs is concerned, you do have, again, early speed does okay. No post positions really don't make much of a difference in here. Early speed belongs to the 1 and the 2 on the inside.
Yeah, they'll probably go head and head if they can both get a good break. And it's just a matter of whoever gets the best break, I think. As far as the overlays go, you've got a really nice overlay on the 3. It's supposed to be less than even money on simulated odds, and it's 3-1 in the morning line. And then you've got the 5, which is a pretty darn large overlay. It's supposed to be just under 3-1 simulated odds, and it's 10-1 in the morning line. As far as the C zones, the 1 and the 4 have the best C zones, but they all show a little bit of C zone except for the 7 and the 3.
So, Charles, I'll reach out to grandma because there's some pretty inexpensive. There's some really inexpensive streaming. I don't know, it's just streaming, but they're like content services you can use. I think one it's like $19 a month. They have video, they have music, they have all sorts of stuff. You can license it across anything, so it's not all that expensive. So I'll reach out to grandma and let grandma know where to kind of look for that kind of stuff. So you got banned from Twitter. What did you do, Scary? I thought Elon was being a little bit friendlier to people, not banning so many people, right? Background music, yeah. I can get that. Like I said, I'll send that off to Grandma. It's not that expensive, $19 a month, relatively cheap. I like. We just went through the Z Zone score and all that kind of stuff right here, right, Terry?
Yes, we did. Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget.
So now
where
you
I'm
can
at.
go to your other one.
Yes, again, here we go. It got again another one that's a lone E horse in that 4 horse. If it can get to the lead, it can be very dangerous. If it doesn't get to the lead, its chances could be pretty bad. Looks like in here, See Me a Laugh is going to struggle to get that lead, but it doesn't look like the 1 or the 2 will. So the pressure horse and the pressure closer type, those two have a pretty strong early pace advantage over everybody else. Question is, can they hold on to it? Cartwheel looks like it does have the best late pace. You see down here, the 1 and the 2, they tail off badly. So they're going to have to get the right kind of fractions to hang in there. As far as the early speed, late speed combination is concerned of those speed horses, it does look like the 1 horse has a little bit of advantage over the 2, although Cartwheel scores out the best in this way. Who scored out the best when you did your handicapping?
All right. Well, then number 3, Cartwheel did. She finished 3rd versus similar in her last race, has the highest speed figure at today's distance. Her best speed, dirt speed, is fastest among today's starters. The one, the round's mine, is my second choice. Finished in the money in 6 of her last 7 races, and she won 4 of those. So she likes winning, drops in class today, and has a high percentage winning jockey. Then number 4, See Me a Laugh, I guess. See Me a Laugh.
See Me a Laugh. I think it's See Me a Laugh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, she won her last race at Parx Racing, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. And the 5 is my long shot, Starship Blanca. She won her last race at Parx Racing, has the highest last speed rating, and has a high percentage winning trainer. I'm going to play a 50-cent trifecta. I'm going to use the 1-3 with the 1-3-4-5 with the 1-3-4-5.
Cartwheel is your top pick today. All right. So all of us are in unison, Barry, Terry, and Rich. So is that like the Ghostbusters putting their streams together? Is that a good thing or a negative thing? Where are you going to fall on that, Terry?
I think it's a good thing.
All right. I think it's a good thing too. What do you guys think? I'm always kind of worried when we all agree on something because it can be a sign that everybody's going to agree on it, and that horse is going to go off at 1-5. I like Cartwheel too. Like I said, 3 for 3. You got Ness and Silvera at Parx. You can't ever overlook that one, where the horses run 5 out of 10 races with 3 seconds in there. It does have some good late legs to go with it. Pretty strong overlay too, according to our simulations. Number 1, this round is mine. Something Terry never says, although he's the prime rib guy. Drops in class. Last race was better than it ended, as the early half of the race showed improvement with stronger 2 and 4 furlong pace numbers. It is making its second start off the bench, which is a 50-50 record. But when I look again at this sort of stuff, you see a high C zone and a good chance to get to the lead. When 2 out of these 3 numbers are good, those horses tend to perform well. I've just seen it over and over and over. 5, Starship Blanca, another one that's a little bit of an overlay in here. And that's with the top last race speed figure. It is moving up in class after increasing its speed figure 3 consecutive races in a row. Again, reflecting back on Barry Meadows and his book, Skeptical Handicapper, that 3 speed figure increases in a row or more, those horses tend to win at more than 15%. So what I deem an alpha angle. Finally, number 9, Shirley Green, back to trainer Lee Halim. He's won 23% the first outing with a new horse. And this horse is coming off a Z pattern. I like the 1 and 3 in here as the best 2 horses with the 1-3-5, with the 1-3-4-5 and 9 for my trifecta. Race number 7. We're going to go off to that one now, Terry. I think one of these we're going to go to 1 mile and 70 yards. Not this one. We're going to go back to 6.5 furlongs, as 6.5 and 6 furlongs dominate the early card. 6.5 furlongs does have a really strong early speed bent. 37% go wire to wire. The inside 3 and 8 and out do really well. 4 through 7, they are discounted, Terry. Strong speed matters here today. Speed in this race looks like it belongs to the 2 horse.
Yeah, it looks like it has way more speed than anything else in there. Overlay is the 2 with a little bit of an overlay. It's supposed to be 9-2, and it's actually 6-1 on the morning line. And then the 8 has a pretty decent overlay. It's supposed to be just under even money as simulated odds, and it's 5-2 on the morning line. If the 8 gets a good break, it should go all the way to the quarter pole. All of these horses have C-zone numbers, except for, well, the 3 doesn't look all that great, but the rest of them have pretty decent. The 8's a little bit low too.
So, Charles, I just put Tom's. You see in the comment section down there. That is Tom's. I hope I got it right. TJD Horseplayer on Twitter. So it's at TJD Horseplayer. And last week he had to cancel on me because he had something come up on Foreign Fridays. So I'm not 1,000% sure. I do plan on reaching out to him today because we're going to do a Derby and Oaks double preview on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. You're not going to want to miss that. The best way to make sure you tune in for that is to subscribe on YouTube, hit the bell, follow us on our social sites. Our Swiss Army Sean will keep you up to speed. As far as the early speed and who's the way this race shape looks, again, you got a pair out here that want to be on the front. Everybody else is middle back. So if you can get to the early speed, if you can get to the front, you got a good shot in this race. That's the way it sets up when you see this sort of race configuration. It does look like Lady Zeta has a chance to be that horse, but a big fat red in the late pace. And the 1 should be right there too. So the 1 has a little bit more late speed in there. So of the early, but those 2 fall off to the back. Chelsea Wall does have the most late pace by 8 points over the next horse. So if that horse is anywhere near a length and a half of the leaders coming out of that quarter pole, coming out of that turn, could be one that difficult to hold off. Confirmed Genius. Yes, indeed. Terry is the horse that's going to win this race. Terry, according to this angle, what do you say?
I like the number 7 horse.
So you don't like Confirmed Genius?
No, I'm sorry. But I like the 7 horse. She finished 3rd in her last race, has a high percentage winning trainer, Jamie Ness, and has the high percentage winning jockey, Ruben Silviera. And this horse has a high speed figure at today's distance. Tilsa is my second choice. She's number 2. She won her last race at Parx Racing, switches to a high percentage winning trainer, and she also has a high percentage winning jockey. This combination in the last 14 days has been in the money 4 out of 5 starts with 2 wins and 2 seconds. Number 8's my 3rd pick, Buck Sum. She ran 2nd versus similar in her last race and has a high percentage winning jockey. Midtown Rose, the 1 is my long shot, drops in class today. Her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters, and she has a high percentage winning trainer. I'm going to play a 50-cent pick 4. I'm going to use the 1, 2, 7, and 8 with the 2, 5, with the 1, 3, 7, and I'm going to single the 4 in the 10th race.
So, Daniel, to see the races, I don't know where you're located, but if you're in the United States, my suggestion would be to open an account. And with that account at TVG, Twin Spires, any of the major NYRA, wherever it is that you, or even whichever one's in your state, open the account. You can watch the races in there. I watch them in TVG. I watch them in Twin Spires. You don't have to bet once you get the account open to watch them. If you're outside the United States, then use something like Bet Us. I do think you have to use Bitcoin to go ahead and get that account open. Betfair is another one that has all the races in there. You can open that one up out of England. I think Betfair is located, or maybe one of those islands where they don't pay taxes. And then, of course, there's, I think, that Racing Television Network, RTN. We reached out to them because we get this question every single day, but they didn't want to do any kind of work with us in terms of us referring them out and getting you a nice little discount on that. In the same race, Terry, I like the 2 horse in there too. I mean, the 2 horse is my first pick because I've seen it way too many times not to put this one first. Has a really strong chance to get to the lead, has the top C-zone score, and is an overlay. When you get that trifecta, the horse has to be in your picks. The 7 horse is my second choice. 5 consecutive speed figure increases. We talked about what 3 does, according to Barry Meadows. Again, you get that combination of Ruben Silvera and Jamie Ness. You can't pass on that dynamic duo and Ben Salem at all. This one's did come off the top last race. Speed figure, I don't know if it's dropping in class or not here from a state bred allowance 50K, but I think it's probably a little bit of a step down. Because I said did beat the top pick, my top pick, Tilsa, 2 races back, considerably better through the first half mile in its first race after the claim for Joseph Taylor, trainer, who wins at 19%, second time around the track with a new horse that they've claimed versus 11% overall. So an alpha angle for Mr. Taylor. Today he's going to put Paco Lopez on board. Finally, Sensimillion, somebody whose days were probably a little bit high, so to speak, when they named that horse there. It's a tough call for me over to 6, but a little bit more consistent. Better numbers at Parx, better numbers at the distance. I feel like it has a little bit more upside. Pick 4, 2, 7. I think they're the best 2 horses in this field with the 2, 4, 5, with the 5, 6, and then closing it out in race number 10 with the 4 and the 7. Let's see. What do we have in terms of 3 minutes to race number 2, Terry? So we probably have a minute, no?
Yeah, you've got a while.
Race 8 is 3 races left to go. This is a good one, a mile and 70 yards. It is an allowance for $60,000, so a pretty good chunk of change. 2 marquee races in a row here in race 8 and 9. First time we saw a mile and 70 yards today. Yesterday, it definitely favored closers, that's for sure. But overall, it does favor tactical speed. 29% go wire to wire. There's a very strong rail bonus for Irish Exit. 2 through 7, they play fair. 8 and out, they are penalized, Terry. So speed can play a factor in race number 8. It didn't yesterday. If it does, Practical Coach, who's on the outside, does have a lot of speed, but so everybody else can make a claim to that lead.
That's right. Almost all of them have some speed. I think that 4 might give that 8 a little bit of a problem there. The overlays are the 5, which is supposed to be like 5-2, simulated odds. It's 4-1 on the morning line. And the 8 supposed to be 7-2, and it's 5-1 on the morning line. If you look at the C-zones here, look at all these C-zone numbers are great except for the 6.
Should be a very competitive race in here. If you have that 4, it's being a little wild on the track before it gets started in this race. He's 7-2. He's definitely ready to go. I'll tell you that. He looks amped up. They gave him a couple horse versions of Monster Energy before that race. Everybody here wants to be middle forward, so this could be a pretty competitive race out of the gate. I think you're probably going to see that here in our early pace numbers. Indeed, they're all in the 80s. So we saw in the simulations that every horse, if it wants to, can get to the lead. So late legs are probably going to play the difference in this race. The horses with the most late energy are the 5, 8, 2, and 1. Wouldn't be shocked to see one of those horses run middle of the pack and then close out the race. And then if you look at the best combination of early speed and late speed, pretty good advantages for the 1, the 5, and the 8. That triplet might produce your winner, Terry. When you did your analysis, which winner did it produce?
All right. I like the number 5 Irish Cork. He won his last race at Laurel. Has a highest last speed rating and a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Far more power. My second choice. He has won 6 out of 12 starts at Parx Racing. Drops in class. His best start speed is fastest among today's starters. And he has a good 5 furlong workout. April 25th. Number 1, Irish Exit. My third pick has won 3 races in a row at today's distance. The rail post is winning at a 21% clip. And he has a high percentage winning trainer. I like the 6 as my long shot. He won his last race, has a high percentage winning trainer who wins 23% of the allowance races he has an entry in, and has a bullet workout on April 22nd. I didn't do any money bets here because I'm almost out. I wanted to save for the last 2 races.
Yes, and Christopher D'Souza says he likes the 4 and the 8 race to win as a closer. Bear, it looks like at Parx, likes the 2, 4, and 8. We're about to get started in race number 2, so let's rewind back to what we had in here. And looking at the early speed, it does look like this race was competitive with the 4 horse being one that wants to be on the lead, though My 3 Butterflies is another one that can compete. My 3 Butterflies did indeed get to the lead at 10-1, Terry, though you do have it looks like the 7 horse in there, or the 8 horse, pushing up on that as well. So All That Magic, one that we have 4th, is involved. The 4 is on the rail to the outside, is the favorite, that 8 horse, Carn Elian. So he's going to have a little bit of work to do as they've gone through the opening quarter in 22. That quartet is probably around 4 or 5 horses ahead of the 5 horse who's making its move up now. You got a trio of horses in the back that look like they might be out of the race. That 4 horse that was acting pretty wild is now starting to tail off. The 7 horse has moved up to the lead, although it looks like he's got a good hold on his horse too, because the jockey on the 8 horse is really getting a hold of his horse. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. What I don't like about this 7 horse is he's looking around for another horse, but the jockey's doing a good job of straightening its head out. It looks to me like this race is going to go, I don't know, this 2 horse might close him down at the end because he's really flying and the 7 is really shortening up. It is going to go 2, 7, 8, and 5. 2, 7, 8, and 5. So we both had our trifecta there. Unfortunately for me, once again, my pick 4 gets crushed by my very next pick. And I don't know why this happens to me all the time, Terry, but this has been the mode I have been in for the last, 6, 7 weeks, where it's my next pick that beats me up every single time.
You should have used my top pick.
Well, I should have used your top pick. Yes, indeed. It was my third pick, but what are you going to do, Terry? There's just splitting hairs between the rest of them, right?
That's correct.
5A2 Parx for in race 8 box for Charles. Back to race number 8. Indeed, we go for my selections in the 8th race. That's not what I want to look at here. This is what I want for race number 8. Wow, Ness tough as nails at Parx. Yes, he's tough as nails at Parx for sure. Kind of hard to beat that guy. It gets crushed because you are on a budget. Up your limit and you hit more. Yeah, we talked about that. And the reason we do that is because we figure a lot of folks go to the track with $100, especially in these days of high inflation where everything costs so much. Yeah, I used to figure out how much, when I go to the store and do grocery shopping, I remember it was $10 a bag. So I would measure how much things cost by how many bags you got of groceries. And now it's like $30 a bag. It's like tripled in the last few years. And that's pretty horrible. I can't. So we're trying to keep in mind that people are on a limited budget. In race 8, I like the 2-horse. Maybe I should have put the 2-horse in the race number 2 instead. Far Mo Power. This one had double bullets getting prepped for today at Parx, where it's won 6 out of its 12 starts, 3 seconds and a third mixed in there. The last 2 times this horse came off the bench, made easy work of the rest of the horses. Irish Cork, the 5-horse, it's another coming off the sidelines with some really good workouts getting ready. But unlike the 2-horse, this horse has not done as well coming off the bench. In fact, usually needs one. But it is the right distance. 12 times out, 4 wins, a second and 4 thirds. Just 2 wins in 14 races at any other length. Number 4, American Patrol. Trainer Cathal Lynch wins 33% of the time when the horse is making its third start after a layoff, just like today. Drops in class today. The last 2 times this horse ran at this level or anywhere close to it, it won with ease. And finally, Irish Exit. That 1 horse was a very hard call for me over the 8-horse Practical Coach, but I can't ignore the rail bias, and I couldn't ignore the fact that the further you get away from the rail, the more difficult it is, and there's a lot of speed for that 8 to clear, so it could have a tough path today. And you can see that kind of showing up here too in the C-zone score, and even being farther out with a lot of speed could make that even more difficult task. 2 races to go, including race number 9, where they are going to go back to 6 furlongs. Terry, again, tactical speed, no particular post position advantage. You do have about a 35% chance to go wire to wire, and another allowance $60,000 race. Early speed is a factor, not a deal maker, deal breaker in the second to last with the 8 out, Terry, one that should have been on the lead. Today he'll be watching to see who else takes the lead.
Okay, yeah, almost all these shows some speed. Nobody has any really, outstanding speed, but they all got pretty much speed here. And then if you look at the overlays, the only one I really see is the 7. It's supposed to be below even money, and it's listed at 3.5 to 1 on the morning line. And then most of these have pretty decent C-zone numbers, except for the 5 and the 3.
Yeah, 3 zeros out on that respect, and no chance to get the lead. It looks like a big overlay, and probably gonna win. So looking at that Breezy Gust, Terry, looks like it could be 2 to 5 morning line with a strong C-zone score. So maybe you can get some good value in that horse. We'll see if indeed that's how the race does play out. Here again, you see most of these horses, you don't have too many that want to be up front. So the early pace horses could have a little bit of an advantage over the rest of the field. And 5 Dreams, the PC type versatile horse, does have the ability to jump to the front. So I think it'll probably find itself in a tactical position behind some of the other early speed. Breezy Gust, that 7 horse, that big overlay, has a 6-point late pace advantage. Shouldn't be all that far off the lead either, according to its early speed numbers. And the combination score of 87 does rank 6 points higher than the 6 horse. So I think the 7 horse should have an opportunity to live up to that overlay today, Terry. And I think you agree.
I do agree. I like the 7 Breezy Gust. She won her last race at Laurel, has the highest last race speed rating, drops in class today. Number 1, 5 Dreams is my second choice, won her last race at Parx Racing. She has a high percentage winning trainer. The Hopeful Treasure, the 3 is my third pick, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Spun and Won, number 4 is my long shot. She won her only start at Parx Racing and likes the distance. I'm going to play a trifecta. I'm going to use the 1, 3, 4, 7 with the 1, 7 with the 1, 3, 4, 7.
I got to start with that big overlay too. The 7 in here, Breezy Gust. Top last race speed figure did so by a pretty considerable margin relative to the rest of the field. It means the rest have to come up or that one's got to come down. My only question for this one is it's coming off a little bit of a rest. And the last 3 times the horse came up off a break, didn't win any of those races. So maybe one of those that needs one before it's oiled up and ready to go. Word on a Wing, that 6 horse ranks in as my second choice in here. It's running at the right distance, done so 9 times, won 5 of them with a couple of thirds mixed in. You run that horse at any other distance than 6 furlongs, guess what? It only has 1 win in 7 tries. I think when you look at the early speed, late speed numbers, it's going to be involved from the beginning of this race until the end of the race. Hopeful Treasure ran some really strong fractions last out against some pretty good horses as well. Spun and Won, the 4 horse, is a track dropper. Won his lone race at Parx at this level. Again, another horse that's finding 6 furlongs to its liking. 5 races, 2 wins, 2 thirds. If you put it at any other distance, in the money 50% of the time, 8 out of 4, but only 1 win in that mix. 6-7 trifecta on the top of the 3-6-7 over the 1-3-4-6-7 in race number 9, which leads us to the last race of the day, race number 10, 1 mile and 70 yards. This one is a claiming 5,000 non-winners of 1 in a year. And when you look at a mile and 70 yards, one last time today, you'll see that a mile and 70 yards does tend to favor tactical speed with 3 out of 10 horses taking the lead and never giving it up. Strong rail bias. 2 through 7 play fair. 8 and out have a very difficult time finding their way to the winner's circle. Terry, that would only be Scotty because the 9 horse amount is not going to run today. So that means, it looks like Just Nod and Smile is going to be your leader.
That's right. The 7 has a lot of early speed, but the 4 have something to say about that maybe. And then you should look at the 4 as a nice overlay. Not huge, but under even money, and it's supposed to be like 8-5 on the morning line. And then, the 7 should actually get to the quarter pole first, but I think that 4 is going to be the one that wins this race. The 7, 4, and 6 all have really good season numbers. So in the 8 a little bit.
So Charles, you mentioned it's crazy at Churchill today. Maybe it'll be there crazy again tomorrow. Charles and I are going to do Churchill on Wednesday, tomorrow. Thursday, we're going to do opening day at Belmont. Of course, Thursday night, we'll get back together again for the for the Kentucky Derby. Oaks doubled again tonight. Larry Ravilli, a trainer of Just Phil, is going to be the guest at 8 p.m. So if you got any questions for Larry, make sure you tune in for that. Race 10, Charles says he likes the 7-4-1 exacta box at Park. Race number 10, Scary Creations says the 4 is a lock. Gotta love that confidence.
I agree with Scary. That's why I singled it in my pick 4.
It's a lock. Well, I try to avoid that language. It seems to jinx me when I do, so I'll stay off of it. The 7 horse is a lone E. So if that 7 can get the lead by itself, could grow in confidence, and it does look like he will get that lead by himself. His confidence may indeed grow. He'll be followed by that lock, Somebody. Should be right behind, giving a little bit of pressure, making sure that the fractions are honest. As they come around the stretch and race for home, that lock does have the most late speed, so should sit second all the way around the track and then try to find its way to the winner's circle down the stretch. Does have an advantage over that speed horse. So wouldn't be surprised to see the 4 and the 7 run 1-2 all the way around the track, maybe switch positions as they get to the finish line. That's how that race might play out. Terry, you think it's a lock. Scary thinks it's a lock. I don't make such proclamations, but we both have it first.
Well, actually, this is my best bet of the day for Parx, the 4, Somebody. She ran second versus similar in her last race and has the highest last speed rating. Number 8, Scotty. as my second choice. She switches to a high percentage winning jockey and drops in class today. Seat of Honor, the 6, is my third choice. Has the highest speed figure at today's distance. Her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. And then number 3, Eddie's Charge. She drops in class today and has a trainer who wins 17% of the claiming races he has an entry in. I'm going to bet $5 to win on the 4.
That lock. You should put more on there, Terry. Somebody, top last race speed figure, has a really good shot to be better in the third, start off their layoff. Just nod and smile. Sim says that this one could be on the lead with the top top C-zone score. And also 10-1, 12-1, not really a big difference. So kind of fair odds at the morning line. Number 1, Illustrious, drops in class, rides the very strong rail. Looks like it's going to be the morning line favorite. A little bit of a underlay there, but at Parx, the horse hasn't gotten anything done in 4 tries. Maybe a weight break today can help the horse find the board. Seat of Honor, the 6 horse, better chance of getting a better trip and better early pace, late pace combinations than my next choice, the 4 horse Scotty. Final bet of the day, 4-7 trifecta with the 1-4-7 with the 1, 4, 6, 7, and 8. And I think that wraps it up for today, Terry, right? All the races we've gotten there today.
Yep.
Race 10, 5-1 exacta box for Christopher D'Souza. Good luck with that. And then over at Churchill, it looks like things are going a little bit unexpectedly. Again, tomorrow, hopefully Charles and I can handle some of that unexpectedness, as we will make our picks tomorrow for Churchill. Make sure you tune in for that. Here are our full picks today for Parx. Terry, any final thoughts before we get out of here today?
Yeah, if you like what you see here, please go to YouTube and or tell your friends to subscribe and hit the little bell so you're notified about all of our different shows. Go to our social sites such as Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at the Horse Race, the number 2 day, and give us likes and thumbs ups. And then also tell your friends, relatives, everybody you know, so that we can get more people here and maybe help them.
Hopefully we can help them, or at least give them some ideas to fade. At least that's the way it's looked the last couple of days. Today over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet, Finger Lakes, up on in the nice parts of New York, over there in the country, if you like that. I guess kind of a lot of people kind of go there and vacation up in there. The Finger Lakes. It is the free track of the day. There is a link in the description down below. Stone Guitar is a best bet in that first race. Again, we will have all of our Kentucky Derby stuff available. I'll be working on that wagering guide all day today. Get that up as soon as possible for the Oaks and the Derby. I'm also going to put together a little something on horseracingtoday.net. I'm going to put together the sheet with the pace and all that kind of stuff for the entire card for Churchill on Saturday. So you can take advantage of those numbers if you'd like them. Thank you, Charles. We appreciate the kind words. We're very grateful for that. So that'll be over at horseracingtoday.net. I'm going to make you register for it, though, because we're going to do some work down the line where maybe we can team up together on a Kickstarter where we can make that data available for all tracks every single day. So you'll get that over at horseracingtoday.net. Maybe as early as tomorrow, but soon. So make sure you head on over there for that. You'll also, at horseracingtoday.net, every day, Terry and I, we take our picks and we post them over there so you can go back through the notes race by race. In the description shortly, we'll put the times for every race so you can go back if you want to watch a particular race and see what the numbers and our thoughts are. You can do that as well. And I think that's about it, Terry. Again, tonight, Larry Ravilli, 2 fills, one of the horses a lot of people like for the Kentucky Derby. If you got any questions for Larry about his horse, about the prep work, what it's like to be at the Derby as a trainer, all that kind of good stuff, keep it clean, and I'm sure he'll be glad to answer them. I think that wraps up everything, Terry. Picks with the Professor. If you like baseball, winning touches, if you want to get yourself a nice horse racing gift, again, down in the description below. I think that's it, Terry.
Well, let me just report that at Finger Lakes, the top pick for the GTS won that race, Stone Guitar, and paid $430.
Okay. So where else can you double your money for free?
That's right.
Indeed, on a best bet. So you'll find all that down there. Thanks again, Christopher. We really appreciate you joining us today. We appreciate everybody joining us. Make sure you join us tonight. Make sure you join Charles and I tomorrow. Keep an eye out for notes on when we're going to do the Derby Oaks Double. But until we get together again, we certainly hope that today you do enjoy all of God's favor and that everything you do ends up in
the winner's circle.
Absolutely. Have a fantastic, terrific Terry Tuesday. We'll see you on Hump Day.